evening, everyone, and welcome to our fourth parent informational meeting. I'm Dr. Zalita, principal here at Rogers Park, and I have a guest with us tonight, along with Ms. Perez and Ms. Battaglia, and we're going to get started. We had some technical difficulties and we're not able to stream live to YouTube, so we are doing this in a recorded fashion, and then we will post it on my YouTube channel. So I apologize for that in advance. To close caption, to translate once you're in YouTube, in the bottom left of your screen, click on the CC button and then click on the wheel to select the language in which you'd like it translated. If you have any questions, you can scan this QR code or use the link that was sent in the weekly emails and in the morning announcements today to send an email or to send a question through a form to us, and we will answer it. First up is our president, Julie Moore from our PTO. I'm going to stop sharing so that Julie can speak to us. Hi, Julie.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I just wanted to touch base as the president of the PTO and as the year is coming to a close, which is hard to believe that there's one semester left, that we're looking for volunteers to come out next year and to be part of the PTO. My daughter is leaving Rogers Park, so Mrs. Sweeney is the last standing member on our board. So we'd love it if there's some other parents who would like to volunteer. In other days, we do dances and host some events with the groups and the clubs at schools. There's a lot to do, but there's a lot of hands that help. So it would be great if there were more people to volunteer as school gets back to somewhat normal in the future. At the end of the year this year, we would like to give each 8th grader a sign, a lawn sign for their home or a window in an apartment or a condo. That would be great for students to have to celebrate leaving and graduating Rogers Park this year. So that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks, that you'll at some point come to the school to pick up the sign if your child is in 8th grade. And the last thing we'll do is Teacher Appreciation Week this year. We'll do some sort of lunch or breakfast, something for the teachers. Definitely a year to shout out and say thank you, especially to the teachers that do so much for our kids. So thank you very much. If you need anything or have any questions, my information is on the website. Please reach out. We'd love to have you.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate all that you do. You are a very small but very mighty PTO, and we appreciate everything that you do for our teachers.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to sharing so that we can continue with our presentation. So some exciting news to share is that we have an SMS text option coming soon. So the district uses School Messenger, which is what you get in the robocalls and the robo emails that you receive from the school and from the district. It also has robotext. So if you would like to opt in to getting a School Messenger text, which then you can just quickly look at your phone and see, okay, yes, my child needs to quarantine. Okay, yes, there's a meeting tonight. In a short, brief statement, you can send yes or Y through a text to 67587 right now. And if you want to opt out at any time, you are able to. We will be sending some information as soon as School Messenger sets it up, but we wanted to give you a heads up that that is in the works. So we're excited about that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about program choices, the hybrid and distance. I want to make it perfectly clear that the district has not made a formal decision at this time regarding the next phase of learning. There's been much talk in the community, in the newspaper, that we're coming back in all full. That has not at all been decided. It is also not a fact that DL is locked out. As students and parents are contacting us to request that their child comes back into hybrid, we are looking at our spacing. We want to be cognizant of how many students are in our classes because we want to be as safe as possible. So we still have 2 program choices. That is full distance learning. That means that your student is logging in from home or anywhere else remotely each and every day, or a hybrid. And so right now, hybrid in-person learning has 2 cohorts of students. And this week we expanded our phasing in of the hybrid with an additional day of learning in person. So this week our orange cohort was in for 3 days and our blue was in for 2. Next week, our blue cohort will be in for 3 days and our orange in for 2. So those are the 2 choices at this time, and you are able to select to go to DL, and you're able to switch from hybrid to DL at any time. You are still able to request a change from DL to hybrid. It's just that we need to consider space and we need to put you on a waiting list. And that doesn't mean that it's a no. It just means we have to go through and look at each and every one of your child's classes, which could be 7 or more, because we have to look at them for this. If you're a 6th grader, we have to look at them not only for the rest of this trimester. We have begun now. This week is our first week in the last trimester, but also in 6th grade, there's going to be a rotation in their 6th grade wheel, so that we have to look at each and every one of those classes to make sure that there is space in case the district does decide to come back to to have both cohorts in at once. So please reach out to the school. You will be put on the wait list, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can with a decision. Just as a reminder, the student schedule, 7:30 is when our buses drop off, when parent drop off occurs, and when walkers arrive. We expect students to be at school by 7:30, 7:45. Students are given breakfast. They're given an opportunity at that time to go up to their classrooms. This is a time for them to chat with other students that are in their first block class, to have breakfast, to kind of have a little bit of a social time. So we encourage students to come between 7 and 7:45, because at 8 a.m. our classes begin. So for all of our friends, which on any given day is about 76% of the school, at home, they are going to be logging in at 8 o'clock to the classes. So I've noticed a lot of parents dropping kids off 10 minutes to 8, 5 minutes to 8, 5 minutes after 8. Your child is now coming into the class. They're missing getting handed a breakfast, but if they want one, we'll find them and we'll get them one. But they're missing that whole time where they can get to class, they can settle in, and they can get ready for the day. Now they're rushing in. Class has already begun. They're late to the class. They're disrupting the children that have already begun their classes and the teacher who's already begun teaching. And they're starting the day off on a bad foot. So I beg of you to please get the children to school before 8 o'clock, well before 8 o'clock, like 7:45. At 12:25 is when we begin our dismissal. Dismissal has been fantastic. We are surprised and so happy that the buses have been there on time. We're calling them, students are coming out, parents are picking kids up, and we are wrap up, pack up within 10 to 15 minutes. So that has been fantastic. And we thank you all for being prompt to pick up your children. And we continue to have good luck with the afternoon. And thank you so much for doing that. When we're looking at the combined cohort learning, there's a couple different avenues that we're looking at. So when we're looking at physical space, if we cannot meet the minimum, that's 3 foot, and there's a lot of back and forth around 3 foot, 6 foot. It's always been our goal to have 6 feet between students, and that's what we have now. But if we continue and we move forward with the combined cohorting, we can go down to 3 feet minimum. And again, we will try our very best to keep that as close to 6 foot as possible. But there's no way that we could fit all 1,055 students into the building 3 feet apart in each classroom. It's not possible. Right now, we have 45.5% of our students on distance learning. And so with that number, we are able to have students 6 feet apart. We are not going to be changing student schedules or teachers at this point. That the idea of a redistribution, and we're taking these are the points that were spoken about at the Board of Ed meeting. The building capacity, our change to hybrid, if it happens, again, the district has not made that decision. That's where the waiting list comes in, including new students. So this year we've had 76 new students since September enter Rogers Park that were not here and were not on the books beforehand. 35% of them are English learners and 10% have been special ed. So we have had a lot of new students. They too are on a wait list. We have requested additional furniture and PPE for any added student, and I did get word that a shipment should be coming in soon for additional desks and desk shields. We are monitoring in-person attendance, so we run a report on the blue cohort days and orange cohort days to see who was marked as hybrid, which means they should be coming into the building, but who were marked in our attendance as being remote learners. If your child is marked as hybrid, if you have chosen your child to be a hybrid student and they have not come in, you may have gotten a call from a school counselor asking, did you intend for your child to come in? Because we've had some students that are on the hybrid as a hybrid student, but have never come into the building. And so if your intent is to not come into the building, we're just going to ask that you change yourself to a DL so that students and parents who do want to come into the building have that space available. If for any reason your child is not going to be in school, whether it's for an appointment, an interview, they don't feel well, please, please, please call or email the attendance secretary. I get lots of emails and I'm so happy that so many people are emailing this year. That's fantastic. The attendance secretary's email is on the screen right now, as is the attendance phone number, 203-797-4879. So if your child is not physically able to come to school or not going to be able to engage on the computer, please do call us as early as possible. Some general building information. We continue, regardless of cohort mixing or not, to have our classrooms spaced according to CDC guidelines. Our desks and tables continue to be faced in the same direction, and our desks and chairs remain to be in the same designated locations to meet health and fire safety guidelines. And every class has assigned seats. This helps us also when we're doing contact tracing. So when we're alerted to a possible pending case, we look at every single classroom, and where that child who may be sick or who is COVID positive, we look at who was near them, and that's how we determine who is going to be quarantined or not. So I want you to know that we do take safety very seriously at Rogers Park, and we continue to do everything we can in the classrooms to keep our children safe. We continue to have a no visitor policy. Visitors are not allowed in the building. If you do, and I thank you, parents have done a great job at not coming into the building. And I have to actually go back one step. Students have done a fantastic job at adhering to the mitigation strategies. We have not had any students have any problem with leaving their masks on, with keeping pretty distant. And it's hard in the hallways because they're seeing their friends and they want to talk. And it's a gentle reminder that we give them, like, 6 feet, guys and gals. But the kids have done an absolutely amazing job at keeping with the mitigation strategies. I'm very proud of them. And it's funny because we take them out on the mask breaks every day, and they don't take their masks off. So I'm really proud of how well they have adapted to wearing the masks. If you do have any questions and have something that you want to bring to your child, you can ring the doorbell and the front office secretaries will take care of you. Just a reminder about some things that you need to know. Please continue to do a wellness check each morning. If your child has a temperature of 100 degrees or more, they are not to come to school. If they don't feel well, let them stay home. They could log in from home. We would much rather you keep them home and it just be an allergy than send them in and then they tell the teacher, I don't feel well. She's going to call the nurse. You're going to have to come pick them up. And now you may put us at risk of having spread COVID in the classrooms and where we have to quarantine other children. So I recognize the strain that it puts on families, but I beg of you, if your child is not feeling well, please don't send them into school. We do ask that if, when called, you are able to come within 20 minutes to pick up your child. And if you are not, that you have someone, a trusted friend that is on our emergency contact list, able to do so. If you need to add people to our emergency contact list, you absolutely can do this. Just call the main office, email me, and we can get that set up. We will not allow anyone to pick up your child that you do not give us verbal. We'll have your child call you and you can tell us, yes, this is a family friend and they may not be on the emergency contact and I am giving you permission to let them leave the school. We will not send a child home in an Uber or a taxi. That we need you to come and pick them up. We send out 2 different types of emails and robocalls for a COVID alert. So as we told you back in January, I think it was, the district itself, any school that you're in, if your child was a close contact of a person that tested positive for COVID, you will get a robocall that says, red alert. This is a red alert from Rogers Park. I'm a parent in Danbury too. I got a robocall tonight. I got 3 yesterday. I know that it gets tiresome to get robocalls. I recognize that. However, that is why we put the words red alert, so that when you hear it, it's not my Sunday after my Sunday evening update. It's not Dr. Sal's Friday evening update. It's not any of the things that are happening this week. It's the high school telling the 8th graders to do their course requests. It's not these things. If it says red alert, your child was a close contact. I need for you to answer that robocall, because it's going to tell you, go check your email. And then I need you to go to your email or your child's email. Most parents have an email, but some parents do not. The robocalls are sent to both the parent and to the child's Danbury Public School email, and every single child has access to that email. In that email, you will see the subject line. It's going to tell you, this is from one that I sent on March 4th. It's going to say red alert, COVID close contact. That means your child has to quarantine. I've created a special stationery for when it goes out in a robo email that has a red banner around it, and the front or the top of it says red alert COVID-19. When you scroll down, it's going to tell you that your child was in close contact with someone that tested positive, and it's going to give you the dates that your child is on quarantine. You may not send them to school the next day. The second email that goes out, once we look through, I'm going to go back to this one for a second. We use the school messenger system, and what the school messenger system does is log every single phone call and email sent. It tells me in a spreadsheet who has opened it, who has answered the telephone, if it went to a machine, or if the phone was blocked, or if there was no answer. So then I look at that and say, okay, this person didn't answer the phone. Then I go to the next report, which tells me who opened the email. If you didn't open the email, then I pick up my own cell phone and start calling all the numbers. And I've left messages for some messages and haven't heard back. No, and no one's ever opened it. If I look on the report and it says you opened the email, I assume that you've read the email and that you know not to send your child into school. Once I can go through all of the list and I'm assured that all students have been alerted, I send out a second notification. This general notification, which is purposely in a completely different color. The subject line says COVID general notification. It has a blue border and it has completely different information. It just says, this is a general notification to tell you someone in the school had tested positive. So you get that if the general public or the general public of our community, of our school, gets that well after anybody who was quarantined has been notified. So this message doesn't go out until after I make sure all of the red alerts have been contacted. So please, I tell the children every day, check. And now I've added read your Danbury Public School emails, because these all go to both the parent emails and the children's emails. We continue to have our isolation room. It's been very helpful that we have an outside door. So parents would just come to the outside door. It's right to the left of the main entrance, and the nurses are in there. They can sign you out. Always have your photo ID with you so that you can show that, yes, this is my child. We can check PowerSchool and you'll be on your way. This is also the place, if you or your child, someone in your household tests or starts to have symptoms of COVID, that is also where our school-based health center, when it's at Rogers Park, will do the testing. You'll pull up to the front of the building, and the nurse practitioner comes from that room outside, swabs, and goes back in. If you need more information about anything we've talked about, you can contact myself. My email and phone number is on the screen. So is Ms. Battaglia's, Ms. Perez's. For medical and health, Ms. Kathy O'Dowd. And for busing, Ms. Pereira. We do not actually have anything to do with the busing except help the kids get off the bus and help the kids get on the bus. Bus routes, bus holdups, that's all the bus company. So please take down that number so that you know who to call. And at this time, I'm going to stop sharing and see if there were any questions. I recognize that this is not live since YouTube would not allow us to connect. However, we did have a parent, I think, send an email.
Yes, just one question, Dr. Zalita. The parent understands there's a freeze on distance learning, switching from hybrid to, or vice versa, distance learning to hybrid. They want to know, does that mean their daughter wouldn't have the opportunity to go 5 days if that was approved in the future?
Okay, good question. So one, there's no one's locked out of anything. No one's been frozen. We've just not allowed every single person that asked it to come in because we want to make sure that there's enough space in all the classrooms. So that doesn't mean that any person would not be allowed in. It literally is going to be up to whether or not we have the space in the classrooms. And that's going to be determined through all the classes that your child has. So we'll look at all their core classes and all their elective classes. And as long as all of the classes have space available, then we will welcome your child in with open arms. I apologize that we were not live, but if you have any questions after watching this, please feel free to email me and I'll be happy to answer your questions at any time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great evening.